Hi everybody, welcome back for another video. I'm here in one of my Arteza double-sided watercolor booklets, and this is my, I forget the brand of it, here it is, Niji Premier Artist Watercolors Essential Set. This is the Yasutomo Niji, and the watercolors, here are what they are, and the watercolors are made in the same factory that make the Phoenix, which makes the Winsor Newton Cotman, which also makes the Zen Arts. And this is like the newest little palette I got earlier this year. And I just swatched all of the colors. What they are is Gamboge Hue, Burnt Umber, Burnt Sienna, Alizarin Crimson Hue, Permanent Rose, Purple Lake, Ultramarine, Phthalo Blue. This is a Viridian Hue, kind of like an emerald green, you'll sometimes see it called, Sap Green, Indigo, and Payne's Gray. And right now I'm in the process of doing what I normally do. I pick a couple of the colors that look intriguing, and I draw little vines with leaves. So I did the Gamboge, I did the burnt sienna. This was the one next to it, the something, I can't remember what it was called, and I just said the name of it. The Alizarin Crimson. I want to try the Sap Green. I've used these a little bit, but you can see not that much. And this is just a grabby number 2, one of their smaller detail brushes. And I'm just drawing a little tree stem, and then I'm drawing little leaves, and I'm just going one side, the other, and I'm just doing like an odd number of them. Now, I've got a little jar of water here that I clean the brush off with, and then I re-wet with clean water. What other color should we do? How about the purple? I think that's this one. And this is something new that I started. I wanted to watercolor, but I didn't know what I wanted to watercolor. And I had gotten these 3 new books, and so I decided, after I have done my purge, destash, KonMari of my watercolors, I'm keeping what I have left, and I'm gonna swatch them all in here, making sure I was doing an odd number. There we go. Let's do one more underneath it. Why don't we do the Payne's Gray? I want to see what that one looks like. And this is something that I do with, I had been doing it in my inserts for Patreon, but I wanted to do it in one of these watercolor books. Look how deep that is. I'll do one more. It's kind of hard down here. There. And what I have been doing with these is I've been taking a Copic fine liner or a multi-liner, whatever they call them. That's a 08. And I've been going through and writing the names of the paints. I haven't been writing down the pigments or anything. Like, I'm gonna keep this, and it lets me know that a lot of these are, especially the ones that say hue, like 1, 2, 5 of these are multiple pigment, but then the others, like the burnt sienna is 1 pigment, the crimson hue is 1 pigment, the permanent rose, the purple lake, they're all 1 pigment, which is, you know, good because they blend well. And this being kind of like their, they call it the essential mixing colors, you know, so it's kind of like a primary kit for them. It's not very primary, as you can see. Let's start down here. So this is Payne's Gray. This is Indigo. And I'm just writing what it is. This is Sap Green. I'm gonna wait because I don't want that to smear. This is Phthalo, P-H-T-H-A-L-O, blue. This is Ultramarine. This is Purple Lake. Let's see if I can do this. This is Viridian Hue. This one is Permanent Rose. There we go. This one is Alizarin. A-I-L. Or A-L-I. Sorry, that's my Alizarin Crimson Hue. That's my dyslexia. This is Burnt Sienna. This is Burnt Umber. And this one is, make sure I don't get any color on me, Gamboge Hue. There we go. And then I'm just gonna write the name of this brand, and I'm just gonna call it the Niji Premier. I'll just say 12 colors. What did they call it? They called it the Essential Mixing. And then I got it on Amazon, and then I'll write the date that I got it. I know I got it this summer. I'm not sure exactly when, but I got it this summer. Oop, the cap came off. So there's that. And it dries pretty fast because I didn't use that much water. And it's really good watercolor paper. The book that I'm using is this one. It's the Arteza cold press paper, double-sided, acid-free, spiral bound, ideal for watercolor techniques and mixed media. There's 30 sheets, double-sided, so it means 60, and this is under their expert line, and it's 140 pound. It's really nice paper. So let's take a look and see what I've done in here already. So let me close that up. It's a cute little blue tin. Got an aqua brush as well. Had a little water spill and a little kitty hair there. So I went through all of my watercolors that I kept. And the ones that I kept were my St. Petersburg, my Rosa Gallery, and that little Niji palette. I do have like a little itty bitty palette of Zen Arts that I kept, but that's it. So the one palette has cadmium lemon, cadmium yellow medium, yellow ochre, cadmium red light, carmine, ultramarine, azure, which is another word for a type of blue, emerald, green, and they call it Russian green, umber, burnt umber, and neutral black. And so I did the two greens, and then I mixed some greens. Then, here, I took my little purple tin of my Russian white knights, and you'll see there's some different colors. Cadmium lemon, the same. Cadmium yellow medium, the same. Ochre light. Here they called it yellow ochre. This is ochre light. It's a different combination of pigments. Red ochre, that's new. Cadmium red light. Carmine, it's the same. Cobalt blue is different. Ultramarine, emerald, they have a sap green this time. Burnt umber and lamp black. So just a few things different. Now this is the botanical set, and it has a lemon, just called lemon. So no cadmium. It looks very highlighter-esque. And then here we go, cadmium yellow medium, ochre light, those are the same in all three. And then look, orange, quinacridone rose, geranium red, Madder Lake red light, quinacridone violet, so like different. Ultramarine, deep, this is just ultramarine blue. This is a bright blue, which is different. Green, the Russian green, like the original, not a sap green, and sepia. So a really great set of watercolors for botanicals. Then we have the next one, which is the urban landscape set, which I have right here. Cadmium yellow medium, ochre light, golden deep, that's new. Red ochre, cadmium red light, cobalt blue, blue, that's different, blue. It's different than the azure. Ultramarine deep, emerald, quinacridone violet, Van Dyke brown, that's new, and Payne's gray is new. And then they had these special colors come out in the 2019 colors. This rose quartz, coral, pink peony, lilac, lavender, royal blue, cobalt turquoise, this cobalt blue. It's a little bit different. Aurelian, Naples yellow light, Naples orange. Here's the orange, that was new for 2019. And this one I got in 2022, the botanical set when it was created. Geranium red and May green. And see, this had the geranium red as well, the botanicals. It makes sense. Then this is I got the 24 set, and then I purchased these individually in order to, I got these in 2018. And the original 24 set had cadmium lemon, cadmium yellow medium, yellow ochre, golden, Titian red, cadmium red light, red ochre, English red, carmine, Madder Lake red light, violet, ultramarine, bright blue, cobalt blue, indigo, yellowish green. There's that emerald, that green, that Russian green, raw sienna, umber, burnt umber, Mars brown, sepia, and a neutral black. And then the ones that I added to it, because I felt I wanted some to add to this. This Venetian red, this ruby, this Venice purple, quinacridone rose. This was back in 2018. These both are quinacridone lilac. I did two of the same for some reason. Sap green, quinacridone violet rose. Here is a burnt sienna. Prussian blue is a beautiful Prussian blue. Violet rose, ultraviolet, and Payne's gray. They look so pretty. Then, this is my Rosa gallery, my Ukrainian watercolors up here. And you'll see that they're very similar to the St. Petersburg colors. The pans look almost the same too. Cadmium lemon, cadmium yellow light, cadmium yellow medium, cadmium orange, cadmium red light, bright red, madder red, madder rose, opera rose, magenta rose, some really pretty floral colors. Green, reminiscent of that Russian green, emerald, bright blue, cobalt blue, blue, ultramarine blue, violet, I had those out of order, yellow ochre, umber, sepia, and Mars brown. And then these are some others that came in another palette. There's a yellow ochre, which we had here, another cobalt blue, the madder red, and the sap green. I had bought in two sets to create this, and these were the duplicates. And then this is a Daniel Smith quinacridone gold. This is a Prussian blue by Daniel Smith, and this one right here is a duochrome. And then I just did some little floral leaves. And then you'll see here the ones we just did from the little Niji palette. But the reason we're here today is Payne's Gray. I have two Payne's Grays. You'll see I had the one in the Niji palette, and then I have two in the St. Petersburg palettes. But the easiest one for me to get was here in the little palette here this is the Urban Landscape. And one thing that's really nice about this palette is, oh, that's too big, is look at all that mixing space. See those little marks there? It's a really unique palette. So here you have mixing tray, and your paints. And then when you're done, let me get that out of my hand. You can just pop that off and pop it back in there. And it's so compact. Yes, it's bigger than this, but it's lighter too because it's plastic and not a metal. And then you've got like a little spot in here for like a little travel brush. And then you can actually pop. I can get this out. It does come out. I think it's because I had wetted the paints the other day. Here. There we go. And see, if you want to replace a paint, you can just pop it out and replace it once this gets done, or use this with different paints. And these are full pans, which is really nice. And you'll see that the St. Petersburg now come numbered. So 309 is red ochre. I wrote red ochre on it, but if you go by their system, 309 is red ochre. So let's put that back in. But we're going to talk about this color down here. this one right here, Payne's Gray, and this one right here, which is Payne's Gray. Because, oop, I got a little something on my finger. Let's wipe that off. Payne's Gray is a color that I tend to use instead of black. I don't really use black. I have used lamp black in the past. I thought I had it here. Okay. So there's a couple of ways that you can mix this color. Let me get my big St. Petersburg palette. And this is kind of the same concept or idea as this palette here. You'll see it opens up, and then it has another large mixing tray. This is why this is my stay-at-home palette, because it is just a bit big to travel with. I love the large hole pans because you can use a thicker brush. Here's like a cat's tongue, and they work well in these. I think this is Payne's Gray. Yes, Payne's Gray. So I've got a Payne's Gray here, a Payne's Gray here, and a Payne's Gray here. These two are the same, of course, same brand. There might be a slight difference depending on, you know, the age of the paint, but let's get these. I gotta make some room. So Payne's Gray. Say you want to use something dark like a black, but you don't have a Payne's Gray. You can actually mix Payne's Gray. There. I'll use this little palette here. So let's first swatch a Payne's Gray. Let's take this one up here, the Niji. And so you see it's quite dark. Now I'm gonna just clean off my brush a bit. And the thing that's great about Payne's Gray, see how it can give you a blackish looking color. Let's get the Payne's Gray from the St. Petersburg. Now the St. Petersburg is my preferred Payne's Gray over the one in the Niji palette, because it's a more complex color. And then I'm also gonna swatch this Payne's Gray over here, since it's a St. Petersburg as well. Just so you can see. There's a couple of formulas that you can use for Payne's Gray. One of them is taking Prussian blue, which is here. So I'm going to grab some Prussian blue. So there's some Prussian blue. Take a yellow ochre, or like an ochre light. So we have our, let me get that out of the way, our Prussian blue. I'm gonna take our yellow ochre. I'm gonna get a bunch on this little aqua brush. And I'm just gonna put it in here for right now. Yellow ochre. And then the last thing is Crimson Lake. So in the St. Petersburg line, let me, oop, that's gonna get all colored. What do we have? That is, I guess we could take our madder red. Where is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't think wait, Madder Red Light is in the botanical set. Because that's carmine. I should have had these all out. Wait, I do have Madder Red in the big set. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cadmium, bright red, madder red. Wait, that's not this. Okay. Yellow, yellow, yellow ochre, golden, Titian, cadmium red light, red ochre, English red, carmine, madder. It's this one down here. So we're gonna grab some of that. So these colors, we're gonna mix them all together. I'm gonna put a little bit of water in there. Now some Payne's Gray have blue hues, some Payne's Gray have sort of a purple undertone. It really depends on, this one looks like it's gonna have a purple undertone. But if you don't have a Payne's Gray, let's see what this does. It kind of reminds me of a moon glow of sorts. Very pretty. It's definitely not a Payne's Gray. I understand why it would be a possibly recommended, because it does give you that sort of a deep shade. Now there's another one where they say if you take a French ultramarine and burnt sienna. So I don't have a French ultramarine. In this little palette, I do have an ultramarine, and do I have a burnt sienna? Yes, I've got an ultramarine. We're gonna try something. I need my little sprayer. We're gonna clean up a little spot here. And take the little My Melody. Let me clean up on aisle 2. Okay, so we're gonna take our ultramarine, which is this color right here, ultramarine, Let's see what this does. There's another recipe that someone had suggested, and I always wanted to know, what would that do? But that's a beautiful shade. Okay, so we have our ultramarine, and then we need our burnt sienna, which is this right here. Ultramarine and burnt sienna. This one might be a nice mix. Okay, so here we are. Ultramarine, burnt sienna. Ooh. Ooh. Let me get a brush. That looks definitely more like a Payne's gray. And what was the other recipe? So there's that one. The other recipe is a phthalo blue, cerulean blue, and quinacridone violet. And I don't have a phthalo. I don't think I have a phthalo blue, do I? Oh wait, I do, in here. I've got a phthalo blue. Do I have, I don't have a cerulean blue. They were saying this was a good mix for Winsor and Newton. Phthalo blue, cerulean blue, and quinacridone violet. The purple lake is kind of like a quinacridone violet. Let's try something. So we're gonna take the phthalo blue, because that's what this one is. Phthalo blue. Oop, got something there. Phthalo blue. Yeah, that's a phthalo blue. I put it there because it looked like I had some quinacridone violet or purple lake. And that's this color here. I don't have a... I don't think that's gonna really work. That's too blue. It gives you an interesting color, but that's not. All right, let's use one of these for mixing, kind of one of my gouache brushes. Actually, I might put a little bit of that burnt sienna in, because that really did something. Now I'm totally changing the formulaic, but we'll just see what this does. Okay, let's put a little bit of this down. Kind of looks more like an indigo of sorts. Let's just kind of, let's get the water brush again. Yeah, it's not really. It's a nice color. It kind of looks like a moody sea. Like if you're painting a nice seascape. But that's very interesting. So for Payne's gray, they say take Prussian blue, yellow ochre, and crimson lake. And that's what gave us this kind of moon glow purple. What we did here, we took French ultramarine, or we took an ultramarine, and burnt sienna. And then this one here, we took phthalo blue, quinacridone violet, and a little bit of burnt sienna. So that's very interesting, I think. Let's take the little brush that I was using, the little grabby #2, and let's kind of take some of these mixes and kind of see how they, so this is that first one right here. It's definitely a pretty color. It would be a nice blend for like shadows, like if you're doing a building and then you need to have shadows showing the like under the awning of a building or what have you. Now here's that second one. It could be because these aren't, a couple of them, it was this and this. I think because they are, I think the burnt sienna had 2 or 3 pigments in it, so it probably does separate a little. Maybe the water keeps it together, and then as it dries, it separates. One more. I always do even or odd numbers. I don't do even. And then the last one we had is this newer, sort of like a deep ocean color, I think. And we're just playing. When I don't know what to paint, or I don't have anything sketched, but I want to put color on a page, I'll just grab any watercolor pad or book that I have and just play around with some colors, and I'll create pages of vines like this, or I'll practice flower petals. And then let's take the original Payne's Grays. So here's the first one. Yeah, you can see it's a little bit darker for sure. This is the Nietzsche. You might be able to hear Seamus. He's sleeping on a chair across from me. One more for that. Can you see what I'm doing? And let's get the St. Petersburg. Payne's Gray. There we go. I like the St. Petersburg a little bit better because the other one just looks kind of black, while the St. Petersburg has a little bit more complexity to it. That makes sense. So So Payne's Gray is one of my favorite colors, but there's so many different types of Payne's Gray. Like Winsor Newton, theirs is different. I just don't have that many, but there are so many different shades of Payne's Gray. This one to me looks like a moon glow-esque. This one looks more like a Payne's Gray, but it is separating a bit. And then this is a gorgeous color. I don't know if I'd call it Payne's Gray, but it's really beautiful. Okay, that's all I really had for you guys today. Just kind of a little bit of a play with my watercolors. I'm really enjoying these little sketchbooks, just for, you know, swatching my paints and for doing some color studies in it. So now that I have all of my watercolors, except for that little tray, swatched, let's write what this was. Let's see. I'm not gonna close that because, what is today? The 14th. 9-14-2023. I'll say Patreon. Payne's Gray Study. So this was St. Petersburg. This one was also St. Petersburg. And this one was the Niji. I'm trying to remember the recipe for this one. I'm gonna write it down. This one was the Prussian blue, yellow ochre, and crimson lake. This one was ultramarine, and, sorry, there's a cat hair everywhere, burnt sienna, and then this one was phthalo blue, quin violet, and burnt sienna. Really gives you some, you know, these are the Payne's Gray. This is more gray. That one's more black. This one has a hint of deep blue-green. This one is more like a brown undertone because of the burnt sienna. And then this one, ooh, I just smudged it, is a bit of a purple because of the way the blue and the crimson, like the red, mix to make that. Very, very interesting. What I will do is give them each, this one will be an asterisk, this one will be a circle, this one is a star, this one, the Niji, is a square, and then this one will be a triangle. Just so we know which colors made those. But it's beautiful, beautiful blending of colors. So there we are. I hope you had fun. Get your watercolors out, and you know, stuff like this I think really teaches us so much more than just painting. You know, really learning what your colors do and what you can do with, you know, a little mixed palette of 12 like this or 12 like this, or if you have a big palette. Oop. Did that get stuck? Or a big palette like this. It's just wonderful to see all the things that you can do. Oh, I wanted to show you, since I had talked about the Rosa Gallery, I do have my little, it's not little, but I do have my palette of them here. So this is just a black tin that I put them in. And these are the ones that I swatched, and then these are the little extra ones, and those are my Daniel Smiths. I do have 2 tubes of Daniel Smith, or the sticks. I've got to find where those are. I put them someplace safe, and I don't know where they are now. But you can see that the pans are very similar in size. I can't get one out. Here. I think this is sap green. Yeah, here's a sap green. Let me get a sap green of the Rosa out. There we go. And here's a sap green. So you can see they're very similar in size. The St. Petersburg are, you know, they kind of go down. Well, these are a little bit more straight, but it's almost a full pan. Same thing, full pan. Lots of paint. So there we are. I hope you enjoyed this. But yeah, see, I have more than enough watercolors. I do not need to buy any more because I have plenty. And here's the swatch card of my St. Petersburg right here. Beautiful, beautiful watercolors. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, or leave them on the Patreon page underneath the video, wherever you choose to watch the videos. I know some people take them and watch them in YouTube, on a YouTube browser, and some just watch them on the Patreon page. Watch them where you feel comfortable, and leave a comment. Do you have Payne's Gray? Do you like Payne's Gray? Did you know that there are ways of mixing Payne's Grays-ish colors? Do you have another blend that you like instead of these? These are the 3 that I discovered, and it's interesting to see, of course, the differences that they are. Okay, I've chatted long enough for today, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.